Hey now everybody, welcome to ENGL.org. This is Dr. Island, and today we're talking about the two-part research paper. For your literature course, depending whether you take English 101 or 103, you are either learning literary terms such as symbolism and irony in English 101, or you're learning critical perspectives such as biographical criticism and Marxist criticism in English 103. However, for both classes, you are composing a research paper that is a reflection of your knowledge of not only those terms that you're going to learn during the course of the class, but also the research process and MLA formatting. To that end, whether you're in English 101 or 103, you are going to be creating for me a research paper that will be presented in two parts. The first is going to be a first draft, which will be a shorter version of the larger paper, and it is going to be about 4 pages in which you are giving me a portion, a shorter version of what is essentially going to be, at the end, a longer paper. And then you'll add to it to create that longer paper. And it goes in basically 4 steps. And the 4 steps are as follows. The first thing you do is you choose your paper topic. If you're in English 101, you would choose one of the works listed under the Choose Your Paper topic, and they'll all be stories. It might be a play, but most of them are going to be short stories, and then you'll choose something. These are examples of what you might choose from. And the reason I choose these works is because these are very often anthologized works, and they are heavily analyzed. When you go into Gale, which I'll require that you use, the Gale Literature Resource Center, and other resources developed by Citrus College Library, you are going to find a lot of material on these works because they're all old, and they're all highly respected, and they have been analyzed a lot. The purpose of this analysis is not for you to show me some kind of unique and one-of-a-kind analysis that nobody's ever done. This is a freshman composition course in college. You're demonstrating that you understand how to find what exists. And so as part of that, you need to demonstrate that you know where to find the literature that exists on a particular work, and you know how to quote it and cite it and apply it to a standard analysis. So for your English 101, in which you'll be doing what we call formalist criticism, symbolism, irony, and the like, you'll choose one of these works. For English 103, when you're applying critical perspectives, you're going to be using either poetry or plays or a longer literature work. And again, you're not doing unique, brand new criticism. You are applying criticism to works to demonstrate you understand how to do research and how to quote from already existing sources, as well as to apply these critical perspectives. For either 101 or 103, you will then create for me the next step, which is to show me that research. And that research will be in the form of an annotated works cited. An annotated works cited is a works cited, which is a list of your resources, and an MLA, which is what you're using, MLA formatting. It's called a works cited, not a reference page, not a list of works or something else like that, not a bibliography. It's called it's called a works cited, and you're going to be giving me an annotated works cited. Annotation simply means to mark up, and you're going to find for me a series of resources on Gale or an EBSCO or some other valid resource, and you're going to give me the information as they present it, and then you're going to give me a brief description of what that thing is, whether it's a biography, whether it's the work itself, whether it's some kind of analysis, etc., etc. And you're going to find 10 items. One of them is going to be the work that you're analyzing, one of them is going to be a biography, and the other 8 are going to be direct analysis of your work. For English 101, you are looking for analyses that discuss symbolism, irony, conflict, etc. For English 103 or another literature course, you're discussing critical perspectives, Marxist criticism, feminist criticism, psychoanalytical criticism, mythological criticism, and you are looking to find that you're looking to show me that you can find a total of 10 items, because if you cannot find 10 items, you've probably chosen the wrong work to analyze. Now understand that if I give you a list of works to choose from, I know that all of them have enough material to create not only a good research paper, but also a 10-item resource list. However, part of this is you finding those things. And so if you're having trouble finding the works, you need to change to a different work, essentially, and find material, or go to the library and talk to a research librarian who will not find these works for you, but they'll show you where to look. After you give me the annotated works, you're going to write for me that first draft. For English 101, it is going to be about a 4-page analysis, about 2 or 3 body paragraphs, in which you discuss character analysis. You'll probably discuss whether the character is round or flat, or discuss plot analysis, things like determinate or indeterminate endings, linear plots, foreshadowing, predictability, etc., and you are using the primary source, which of course is the story itself, as well as some secondary sources, some research as part of that analysis. For English 103, you're going to give me a 4-paragraph essay, which should be about 4 or 5 pages, in which you apply 2 critical perspectives, and you are going to be analyzing them. Each body paragraph is its own critical perspective, and you'll basically be showing me that you understand something like biographical criticism or historical criticism or Marxist criticism, whatever applies. All the critical perspectives don't all apply, but that's another conversation. And you'll basically present that, and that'll be the draft 1. This is paper 1 that you do for me, and I grade that, and I give you feedback on it. And of course, you are going to then fix that paper because it is going to be part of your final draft of the paper. Once you're done with that first draft of the paper, the next step is to show me an outline of what your final paper is going to look like with this kind of first paper material included. An outline basically is a skeleton of your paper. And essentially, if you were going to only write a 3-paragraph essay, actually, if you're only going to write a single-paragraph essay, a 3-paragraph essay, which with a single body paragraph, you would have an introduction, you'd have a body paragraph, which includes all this stuff here, and then you would have a conclusion. Every essay is going to have an introduction and conclusion, and when you're doing responses for me, you would actually write something that would have this sort of structure. For your outline for your final paper, this portion right here is going to be repeated for each one of the body paragraphs. And that means for English 101, that's probably going to be anywhere between 5 to 7 of these body paragraphs. And for your English 103, there's going to be at least 3, but for most people 4. You would do 3 if you did mythological criticism because it's quite long to be applied to something. And again, you're writing, these are all going to be, you're going to tell me what the major point is, which is the topic sentence for the paragraph. Something like, for English 101, the author uses symbolism and irony to demonstrate the conflict between Montresor and Fortunato. Or for English 103, it might be something like mythological criticism shows many of the archetypes in Star Wars: A New Hope, or what we used to call in the old days Star Wars. And then you would then move on and give me minor point 1, minor point 2. You're showing me the support, which means I need an example of what you're talking about. I need you to give me quotation from the primary source, the work you're analyzing, explain what it means in your own words, and then show me how a secondary source supports that claim, and then give me some more of your own words, and then conclude that point, and then move on to the next section. And the idea is that every body paragraph is not some short little deal. They're at least a minimum of 10 sentences, but in many cases they can be 20, 30, 40, 50 sentences. A mythological criticism in one body paragraph can be 2 or 3 pages. And we'll talk about paragraphing another time, but essentially a paragraph is not delineated by the number of sentences. It's identified by the fact that it's all about the same topic. And so when you're discussing a scene from a story for English 101, or you're discussing a character from a story for English 101, or you're discussing a particular critical perspective for English 103 or above, that is a cohesive argument and it belongs in one body paragraph. And you're going to give me that outline. That outline, these items are all going to be complete sentences. You're not just giving me single words. You're actually giving me specific detail that shows me that you're developing the idea. This outline, of course, will help you to visualize what your paper is going to be, and also might reveal weaknesses in your paper as well, repetition or missing particular elements, and should give you a guideline for that. And then, of course, finally, what you'll do is give me the final draft of your paper. For English 101, that paper is going to be 7 to 10 pages, and for English 103 and higher, it's going to be 8 to 12 pages. And you're basically fleshing out the analysis that you started in that initial first paper draft, and of course is going to be using most of the works that you found for your for your annotated works, but you may not use all of them. Most people don't use all of them. And some people find other things that they then later add to their annotated works. You then take the annotations out, take out any quotations that you don't actually use in the paper, and take out any references that you don't actually use in your paper, that you don't actually quote from, and then, of course, this becomes your works cited. And, of course, the outline guides the format and organization of your paper, and essentially you then have that final paper. Okay, this final paper is going to be a demonstration of your understanding of the material in the class, which is either formalist criticism for English 101 or these other multiple criticisms for English 103, as well as your understanding of MLA formatting of quotation, citation, and a works cited page, and your demonstration that you know how to do college-level research. I also have other discussions elsewhere about what you can and cannot use for research, but in short, you're looking for valid literary analysis, and that means for English 101, you use Gale Literature Resource Center. It's why the college basically pays for it. And for English 103, it's going to be Gale, EBSCOhost, and a few others, many of which are linked through the Citrus College library. And again, you're not just finding random stuff on the internet, but again, your essay is a demonstration of your ability to write a college-level research paper. Okay. If you have any questions about anything, of course, you always can find me at englitguy@earthlink.net. Send me an email. I answer my email pretty much every day. Sometimes it gets a little sketchy on Thursday evenings, but for the most part, I cover that. And, of course, for these online courses, we chat about your paper on Wednesday nights between 7 and 9 p.m. Make sure that you are following through with the assignments. Make sure you're paying attention to due dates, because the first draft and the outline and the annotated works and the final draft, they all have due dates. And the idea is that you're building this work as you go along. You don't wait till the end of the semester to dump everything on me, because it ain't going to work, because you'll have missed the deadlines for it. So anyway, work away. And if you have any questions, send me an email. And otherwise, stay in touch.